You probably heard invest in yourself. Are you investing in yourself? Well, sounds a lot easier on paper, but what does it actually mean? Because so many people think that they're investing in themselves, but you're doing it at best barely, and you might not be investing in yourself at all. Let's talk about that right now. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Positivity Experience. It's your girl, Lori. Damn, am I excited to be here. We are approaching fall, and if you know your girl, it's my favorite time of the year, and that's year round, and it's probably because that's the best quarter that my mental health is. So I'm always looking forward to that because who doesn't want good mental health? So it's a coming, and I like to invest in myself. So I invest in myself year round, but I really like to dig deep in areas that I don't know, either I didn't know how to do it or thought that that wasn't investing in myself and overthought it. And that is what we got to talk about today. I have an amazing worksheet that's going to go as a companion worksheet to this. I do it every week, and it's good for the people who need a starting point. And I honestly do it for me, and I have done it for me for years, that I can hear things, I can see things. I always need a starting point no matter what. So if that's your jam and that's what you need, pop on over to Patreon, patreon.com/, the positivity experience. You can also get the free Letting Go workbook, which is really just like a 10-page PDF. And that's over on the website, the positivity experience. All of that information is directly in the show notes, meaning the description to this podcast. Great. So this is the part that we're going to have to get real. And if you're here and you're not new here, I'm going to hit you with some harshness and I'm going to hit you with some real. That's not going to be for everybody. They don't always like to look in that mirror, but until you're ready to look in the mirror, you're not going to be ready to invest in yourself. And I think so much of it seems like a cliche. Just invest in yourself. But there's not a lot of direction. A lot of us have no idea what the hell to invest in. And I'm going to give you something that has helped me tremendously personally. And I take inventory on it daily. Well, I used to take it daily. Now I have a pretty good consistency with it, but I still check it once a week. And what that's going to look like is it's going to start with $100 of energy, not $100 in cash. Hold tight, because that's going to come later towards the end, because it is a great freaking tool. So in general, there's a deep rooted reason why you're avoiding investing in yourself. Now that could be money. It could be time. So the money thing, that's going to be a separate thing. The time thing, you make time. If you are scrolling social media, you got time. You already know, I've told you this a million times, I don't scroll socials. I do not scroll socials. I got more things I got to do than just sit there and see what's trending. Yeah, I do post, but I batch stuff and I schedule it and I put it up, and I do like to reply to comments. I have a app. I have an app called Metricool, and it brings all my comments in at one time. Then I go to my YouTube and I answer those. And if I need an intentional, let me go find a pattern. What's this recipe? How do I put on eyeliner? Yes, I will go and I will look at that, but I will not scroll unintentionally. And until you stop doing that, you're not going to invest in yourself full time. It's just not going to happen. I mean, I told you, I have clients and friends who have millions and millions and millions of subscribers on YouTube. It's their full-time gig. I have helped them get on the other side of that addiction. Because another thing is, if you go into being a creator, now you're getting caught up in numbers. Now you're getting caught up in algorithms. You're wasting energy. So you want to work smarter, not harder. That also goes into your own self. What does that look like? And here's the reality. It sounds great on paper. You could listen to this podcast. You can go get the worksheet on my Patreon. You can follow 87 other things. Action. Where's the action? Because unless you know that you're important, which we're going to talk about in a minute, so many people don't invest in themselves because A, they don't even know what the hell that means. And B, are they worth it? C, all of the excuses. I don't have time, yada, yada, yada. Because let me tell you what it means kind of in simple terms, and we will unbox each one of these. It's allocating time and energy towards your long-term well-being. Time and energy. So this means you have to be a priority. Now, the reality to that is until you accept, so you might not get there in full investment until we work on undoing and unplanning all of this crap in your head that says it's everybody in front of you and you still got to people please and you're worried about other people's feelings about you being a villain. All right, well, we're going to have to address that, and which is investing in yourself. But until you get to that point to say, hey, I'm important. Now, you might not believe it right now, but you got to act like the person you want to become. So you allocate time and energy. Maybe you get up 10 minutes earlier. Maybe you go to bed 10 minutes later. Maybe you find time somewhere else. But are you willing to commit to it and do not just say yes? Because everybody goes, absolutely. Be real clear. Because as I break this down, you might be like, oh, damn. Well, maybe I got to figure out why I'm not ready. Why I want to be ready, but I'm not. And that's okay too. Also means spending money. Now, I want to put a caveat there. Everyone is not going to have the resources to invest financially in the beginning because it really isn't a one-time investment. It's not like you're investing once. This is going to be a consistent thing. But let's say you have the resources. Are you spending the money on therapy? Are you spending the money? Let's say you want to work with me. Well, my time is energy and I'm really good at my job, but you are going to have to pay me. Are you willing to invest in that or not just me, by the way, or therapy or education or relationship support or skills? If you're not willing to invest in that, then you're not investing in yourself. And again, this is for the people who have the resources. Now, if you don't have the resources at that moment, doesn't mean that you're never going to have them, but there are so many other things that you will be able to invest in yourself that has nothing to do with money. Nothing. So if you do have the resources, you're going to have to check yourself because you're going to find every reason why, oh, this is so expensive. This is so expensive. But yet you're on TikTok Shop or you're doing all of those things. Well, are you important? Then you're going to put your money in what's important. And if you don't have those resources, you're going to put your energy in what's important. Any way you spend it, it's going to be energy. Saying no to instant gratification in favor of meaningful change. Now, I know some of you want instant gratification because we all do. But are you willing to negate that instant gratification for meaningful change? This is where listen to every podcast on the planet, get every tattoo, buy the Let Them sweatshirts, sticker it all over your face, read all of this self-help, drive yourself crazy. Oh my God, oh my God. Until you are willing and accept that this is not fast. A, it's a lifelong process. B, you're going to be repetitive. And I drill this home because everybody wants fast ass fixes. It doesn't exist. And until you're willing to invest in patience, right? Building patience. Well, don't rush the process of patience. Duh. That's defeating the whole purpose. So if you're not willing to be repetitive, and you're not willing to say, ooh, okay, this change will help me and not make that move because it means not talking to your kids 500 times a day because you're their emotional support, but it's really attachment, then you're not going to change. Then you're not going to change. It's going to be the same way. You're going to convince yourself you enjoy it because you're in attachment. So the fact is, if you're looking for that fast fix and not in that instant gratification, you're not investing in yourself at all. At all. I don't care what you buy, what you listen to, what Patreon, what shirt, it doesn't matter. If you are creating a life that supports, not just tolerates you. What does that mean? Well, that means you readdress the people around you. You look at your setting and say, are these people benefiting me on my growth journey? I've told you this before. Early in my late teens, early 20s, my God, I was a nightmare like most of us are. I was writing a chapter in my book and I was like, oh my God, you were such a nightmare and a toxic energy vampire. Because, I mean, you go through trauma, you don't know what it looks like. Suddenly the world owes you everything. You're in victim mentality. You're just an energy vampire. I used to be so judgy, like, "Oh my god, why does this person do that?" Thank God. Like, people said, "Would you wanna go back to your early 20s?" If it was the way it was, absolutely not. If I could go back and have the wherewithal and the healing state that I'm in, absolutely. My God, yeah. But that's not possible. It's not possible. I don't judge people. I know. Some of you are like, we all judge. Nope, that's you not checking yourself and going, I don't want to be judgmental anymore. So you convince yourself it's okay to be judgmental because everybody's judgmental. Nope. When you're going through a healing process, you're observant. Being observant and being judgmental are two very different things. Being judgmental, duh, we know what that is. Being observant means you're not getting an emotional attachment to this person, that person. You're saying, in general, does this person or situation benefit me on the journey in my life that I want? Do these people benefit me? Does this situation benefit me? Are they in alignment with what I want? If the answer to that question is no, no need to judge it. You'll need to understand why. Why are you in here? Why are you wasting that energy? Well, why do they do it? Focus on yourself. Don't divert. Don't go looking at what other people aren't doing. Check yourself. And you look and you say, is this benefiting me? Yes or no? And regardless of who it is, you act accordingly. So if you're willing to get to that point, you're not going to know it right away. We got to work through your ego, through your attachments, through your insecurity. That's down the road. Because see, that's what people will do. They'll be like, yeah, that's where I want to get. Well, you ain't going to get there. Not right now. That shit might take days, years, weeks. Well, it's going to definitely not be days. It's going to be years. Years. You'll get better. But this means you got to lay your ego down. You got to lay your sword down. You got to accept that you are your sole responsibility to live the life that you choose. And you get to decide who's around you, not at work. Before y'all go, well, what about work? Listen, if you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to surround yourself with everybody who's like-minded. And that'd be weird if you did. And you're not going to be able to prevent things that are energy drains. Remember, you are mistaking what healing looks like. People do this shit all the time. I am mistaking what healing looks like because you don't want to have that negativity and you don't want to have those situations and seasons where it's bad. Well, that's ridiculous. You will have emotions. You will have things that are going to be exactly as they are. The difference is it's not going to control your every action. You're not going to get emotionally triggered. You're not going to allow those triggers to carry. Well, if you get emotionally triggered, you're not going to allow that to railroad your life or you're carrying that shit home with you for 5 years. No. And there's a reason why we avoid. Go back to any of my topics that I have over 230 episodes. You'll find several that fit. And if you are on Patreon, make sure you keep those worksheets where you can access them because you'll go back and you'll reference them frequently. But here's the thing. What are you willing to do? And it's okay. It's okay that you're not exactly sure where to start. Well, that's where you're going to invest in yourself. And this does not mean you're going to educate yourself to oblivion. Never read self-help before bed. Duh. Stop it. You can self-help yourself crazy, silly. Oh my God, you'll keep looking for these fast fixes. Listen, I listen to true crime all the time. That's relaxing to me. I don't know what that says about me. Maybe I'm psychopath because I love true crime. I'll listen to that. I'll read that. I'll do something that is, well, and because I do self-help, that's the last thing I want to deal with. I have a pretty good system. I have a pretty good mindfulness practice. I don't, and I do have to stay kind of on the cutting edge of things just so I can help my clients. And you guys know I have clients all over the world. Some of you are in other countries listening to me and we work together. So I do need to have some certain level of education and I invest in that, but stop fast fixing it and self-helping yourself to death. You're not going to get a benefit because you're looking too fast. Now, why are you avoiding it? And a lot of it is subconscious, but why are you avoiding it? Well, you're deeply wired that way. Remember, we're going to go back into your neuro pathways. Based on where you are, remember, we have your hippocampus, we have your frontal cortex, we have your amygdala, all these and many other places. But these are all things that if they get kind of like off kilter, it's going to take you a minute to get it back in. Scarcity mindset. Go back and listen to that website. Oh, that website. Good God. That podcast. Scarcity mindset. If you fear that there's not enough to invest, you're not going to invest. Scarcity mindset. Scarcity. This is also energetic scarcity. I don't have the energy. No, no. You either are looking for something fast, you're not exactly sure where to start, or it gets boring. The amount of people who stop their journey and get real complacent is because it's boring and it's repetitive and it isn't fast enough. And we talked about this for the last 6 months. And we might talk about it still for the next 6 months before we add anything in. If you're not willing to pump your brakes and invest in yourself for the time and the patience, you're just not going to invest in yourself. We're talking about energy here. We're not even talking about money. We're talking about things that are free, but way more quality than money could ever buy you. I mean, money can buy you quality. Let's not pretend it doesn't. But your free access and resources are extremely amazing. I get the scarcity mindset. It's probably one of the things I have to remind myself every day, if not every other day. And, that comes from not really having a house, not having really a place to live at 13, living in a van, eating seasoning salt in my 20s, being extremely unstable and finding roots. And so I get that. The scarcity mindset can be a lot because you don't want to go back to those darker times. But the more you focus there, energetically, manifestation wise, the universe doesn't give a shit what you want. Let's get clear. The universe doesn't go, oh, Lori wants this. I'm going to give her this. I better act like I want it. I better work towards it. Manifestation isn't magic. It's alignment. So if you're focusing on the negative, and I get it, I just told you I have to manage myself. I have to journal about it. Scarcity mindset's very easy. But if you say to yourself, well, but what if I don't have this? This is why sometimes your house gets cluttered. You don't get rid of things because you're like, well, what if I need it? If you need it, go get it again, because you know what? You haven't used it in 3 years. Sell it. If it's bad, throw it away, repurpose it. Stop. You're holding on to things in the scarcity mindset. So because you have it, you're afraid of investing in yourself. You're avoiding it because of that. There's a whole psychology behind it. I did a whole topic on it. Go back. It's several episodes ago. Unworthiness. Yep. You believe that you have to earn the time to invest in yourself because are you worth it? Are you validating that you have worth in order to invest in yourself? Well, you exist, right? You exist. You're listening to this podcast, right? So what do you mean? Of course you're worthy to do it. The issue goes back to what I was going to say, what I said earlier. Are the people and situations within your control, work doesn't necessarily count, are they in promotion of your growth? Again, we can't even get there until you're willing to let go of some relationships that aren't serving you. That could be a marriage, that could be parents, that could be adult kids, that could be grandkids, that could be sisters, it doesn't matter. If you're not willing to do that, your investment stops there. You stop there. You're not investing any further. You're staying in a cycle, but you're not investing in yourself. So that's why we have to go through each section slowly, but consistently to get you to where you're investing each time. It's like you're investing in stocks. Well, you got to sit with somebody first and say, I don't know anything about stocks. What do I do? Well, that's why it's a slow process. If you believe that you're not worth the time or the money, that's an issue, and that's what needs to be addressed. Shame, failure. Shame, failure, trauma. Oh my goodness gracious. This shame thing, we got to get it under control. Again, I have a podcast on it. Shame has not and will never be effective. No one has ever shamed themselves into being a better person, ever in the history of humanity. Shame is a control technique. Failure, oh my God. Failure is, until you are going to accept that failure is there, you're not, just stop even listening to me at all. Just stop. Just get off here. Just don't even bother listening to me, because, or anybody else for that matter. Nobody that you see who is going through and sustaining the healing while still continuing to work has not failed. If you're staying in relationships for the sake of the fact that you feel if you get out of them, no matter what the relationships they are, that you're a failure and you're not doing it, that's a problem. Failure is the absolute foundation to success. Absolute foundation, absolute foundation. So if you're sitting there and you're so invested and you're waiting, but you're not getting those fast results, going back to instant gratification. Oh, you got a setback. Yeah. Well, guess what happens? Until you sit in the pain and the fear and the discomfort, you will repeat the same cycles, period. Period. So until you're ready to feel your feelings, go back to that episode. I think that's going to be very helpful for you. It's like probably a month and a half ago. Go back and listen to it. Because until you're ready to feel those feelings and sit in that pain and that discomfort, that's it. At that point, that's where your investment in self stops too. Control issues. This is a big one because you are trying to invest, but you're risking change and change feels unsafe and you're not doing it because your ego and control. Again, done. These are things you have got to address, and you cannot address them all at one time. We must go back to the beginning, and we must stay there for a long period of time. So when I'm talking about investing, this is a long-term investment. Now, along the way, you will get payback. Like you'll be like, whoa, it's a reward, it's a win. And then you reinvest that. You don't just sit there in it, you reinvest it. If it's energy, reinvest it. If you now have more means financially, reinvest that in yourself. In yourself. Period. Not immediate results anywhere else. Comfort addiction. That's right. You're addicted to the comfort. You'd rather stay stuck in the known than risk growth. Listen to that again. You would rather stay stuck than go into the risk growth and the risk assessments and all that stuff. There is not a scenario where you stay comfortable and grow. There's not a scenario where you gain confidence and then do the things. Doesn't work that way. You'll never gain confidence until you do the things, until you hit the failures, until you decide, you know what, maybe I need to be alone for a while. Never let anyone try to say you'll end up alone as a negative. Well, maybe that's okay. Oh, you'll be the crazy cat lady. Well, don't threaten me with a good time. The problem is you're so worried about other people's opinions, other people's validation. The list is endless. So you're comfortable in chaos. We've talked about this before. If you're comfortable in chaos, you're going to stay in chaos, even though you crave something else. Because see, your brain, let's talk about your brain on investment. We're going to talk about my favorite thing, the brain. I'll try not to make it nauseatingly boring. But your prefrontal cortex, that's your decision making, that competes with the amygdala, which is your fear response. So your brain is essentially fighting yourself. So your prefrontal cortex goes, all right, let me make these decisions. What makes me feel the most comfortable? And your amygdala goes, wait, what's going on here? What are we doing? Are you trying to make a change? I don't like this. So you're fighting yourself. Your brain is literally fighting yourself. This is why mindfulness, this is why the 5 journals, this is why consistency over and over and over again. Not all of us, most of us have 0 skills when we first start anything. 0. But you keep doing it and you keep doing it and you keep. Now, if you're jumping from thing to thing to thing and you're trying to do it right, you're going to keep doing that for the rest of your life. Until you are willing to invest in yourself, willing to go through the boring part of it, you're not ever going to continue to invest. So are you willing to get that energy, that time, even the financial resources, and reinvest it in yourself, knowing it's not going to be fast? Well, I mean, I can't answer that question for you. That's a question that you have to analyze for yourself. So that prefrontal cortex, when making a decision out of discomfort, or yeah, out of discomfort, and then your brain goes, "Whoa, well, this is what happens." Then you just stay stuck. Now, of course, your dopamine. If you look at a future reward, let's say you're like, I don't know, I'm retired, all my bills are paid, I don't really have okay. Your dopamine is releasing when you're thinking of the future rewards. But your fear overrides that. So your dopamine goes, "Oh yeah, this looks good. Up, here we got that fear again. Whoa, what are we doing?" Your fear is stopping you. And you're allowing the fear to stop you. Because if you're waiting for a time where you don't fear, you will not grow. That will never happen. If you're looking for comfort and not fear, you're never going to grow. God, goodness. But if you're not going to take the action, then you're just going to stay on this dreaming cycle, and that dopamine will decrease. So even if you're fantasizing about it, after a while, the dopamine will be like, what are we doing? So we're never going to get there anyway. It doesn't matter. And then that's where you'll live. If you delay investing in yourself, you're delaying access to the neuroplasticity and its growth. So your neural pathways are going this way. And you're like, I really want to change that because neuroplasticity in your brain. So we get to rewire things and be like, woo, this is great. Well, guess what's happening? You not investing in yourself is going to delay that process. You can't just read a book and be like, boom, I did 5 meditations, I'm rewired. You're not. So unless you invest in yourself, you will not even remotely start to align your brain with change. Now, children are taught that needs burden often grows into adult. So the needs actually become a burden, and it grows into adulthood that won't invest in themselves. So yes, a lot of this does go back in childhood. So if children are taught early on that burden often grows into adults, right? So it's a burden. There is a burden that you're carrying into adults into adulthood, and you're not investing in yourself. Needs of others, needs of this, needs of that. Yes, always be of service. That's like, as humans, that's what we are. But you're not, I know this sounds cliche, but it's true. You can't pour from an empty cup. You are not giving 100. Don't convince yourself you're giving 100%. You're not. You're not, because you don't even know who the hell you are. You don't know what things you're trying to change, because you're not sitting with yourself. You have no idea what's important to you. You think you do. You don't. You don't. Because you have all these other things and people. So you're giving 100% of 30% because you're not giving 100% to yourself. So you can only give to others the percentage in which you're given to yourself. So until you're willing to invest in yourself, you're only going to be able to get, if you're at 3% or $3 worth, talk about the money in a minute, then that's all you're going to be able to give somebody else. And that's just how it is. Now, over functioning adults were conditioned to serve, not receive. So in over functioning, you were like, give, 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 especially if you grew up in a faith, like into go back to the religious trauma. It's like in the early episodes. You might want to visit that again if you feel as though you've had religious trauma. And so you're told that I have to do these things. I have to be, you were parentified as a child. Now you're taking on everybody else's stuff because, oh my God, I have to make sure everybody's good. And you're navigating that. So in your mind, it's everybody else, not yourself, because then you receive compliments or you receive gifts and you're like, oh my God, what? Somebody goes, oh my God, you look so good today. Need a coffee? Oh my God, that was great. 7. You're like, don't be weird. Somebody gives you a gift and you're like, oh my God, ew. Because then a lot of times you're like, oh my God, what are they going to want in return? Sometimes it's hard to receive things because you're like, oh gosh, they're going to want something. So it's going to be harder to invest in yourself because you were taught give, 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 give. And somehow or another, receiving was selfish. Well, you're not going to be able to unbox that until you start investing in yourself. Well, is that uncomfortable? Fantastic. Fantastic. You don't, and here's the thing, you don't sabotage your future on purpose. You're just repeating what your nervous system imprints. So you're not intentionally going and wrecking your life, but your nervous system, going back to your brain, prefrontal cortex is like, you know what? This is stupid. This isn't effective. We're going to make a change. Your brain goes, no, we are not. So your nervous system says, ooh, we are going to stay in chaos. We're going to stay stuck because it feels the best. So you're not intentionally sabotaging it. You're not going, I am going to sabotage this. No, you're not. It is happening though. At the end of the day, sabotage is sabotage. And that becomes this pattern. So now you're in a habitual pattern. And this is an important quote. If you weren't taught to believe you mattered, you won't act like you do until you unlearn that. I feel like we need to hear that again. Go slow. I'm going to go slower in case you want to write this down because it's important. So I'm not talking slow because I don't think you understand it. Pause this, go get a pen and paper, come back to it. I'm just going to go a little slower so you can do it because I think it's a great quote to carry with you. Here we go. If you weren't taught to believe you mattered, so if you weren't taught to believe you mattered, you won't act like you do until you unlearn that lie. So I'm going to say it one more time fast and we'll keep it moving. If you weren't taught to believe you mattered, you won't act like you do until you unlearn that lie. And again, what is a quote? It's a point of reference. Don't just read the quote 90 times and be like, I'll eventually believe it. Yes, you got to fake it till you make it. But how are you going to start unbelieving that lie? Well, you're going to invest in yourself. Because it's a great quote, sounds pretty, looks good as an affirmation. But are you willing to invest in yourself to where you can unlearn that lie? Because if you're not, you're just going to stay where you are. And you're going to have to be willing to be uncomfortable, going to have to be willing to drop your freaking ego. Don't go into victim mentality. It's always, oh my God, I guess I can't do anything right. Stop doing that. Investing in victim mentality will never mean investing in yourself. You're just investing in that cycle. So you got to start with your time. Yep, we're going to start with your time. I want you to audit the hours that you have. Are they growing you or draining you? And of course, work is work. We got it. Outside of that. So I want you to time audit. How I like for you to do that, and this is going to come with this money thing I'm going to talk to you about, like this visual money in a second. I want you to audit your time, and we'll go back to talk about this. And is that time, are those hours growing you or draining you? Now, you got to invest in rest. I know we all want shit fast. I know we all want the things. We want to do the things. We want to have financial free. Guess what? Rest is imperative. So for my perfectionist people, go back and listen to that podcast. For my people in perfectionism and need to be liked and need to be go, 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 you're not going to grow. You're going to burn out. You certainly aren't investing in yourself at all. Growth cannot happen in burnout. It's just not going to happen. I don't care what you tell yourself, how much time you say I'm going to give and I'm going to do. Well, you better balance that. This is where patience comes. This is where not looking for fast gratification, instant gratification comes. Rest isn't a luxury. It isn't, some rest is a luxury, vacation and stuff. No, it is mandatory. Mandatory if you want to grow. The biggest thing about all of this is patience. So don't say you want to get patience, then rush trying to get patience and not liking doing the same thing over and over and over again. Then you're going to have to focus on there. That's got to be your first foundational start. It's got to be. Now, this is where it comes to resources of financial resources. Hire people. Again, I take clients all over the world, but obviously it's a service. So if you feel it's important and you feel my approach is best for you, invest in it. If you feel somebody else's approach is good for you, maybe it's a little softer, maybe it's a little bit of a better direction for where you are at that time, invest in that. Are you willing to invest in you? So this is again specifically for those who do have some financial means for it. You can still totally invest in yourself without it. I want to drill that home. I don't want you to feel like, well, if I don't have the means, I can't grow. That is not a true statement. This is an added piece of it. You got to hire people. Got to have the accountability. You guys know I do a lot of accountability with my clients because you got to have it. But by the time you come to me, you're tired of your shit. That's the only person I'm good for. I am going to be direct. I am going to be assertive. I am going to be effective as long as you're willing to come, lay your ego down, learn how to do it, and then start to rebuild knowing that you are the sole responsible person for yourself. Well, then that's great because you're probably going to come in victim mentality. You're probably going to do those things, but you're saying, I matter and I'm willing to invest in myself. So that's that part when it comes to physical money. We're talking about energetic money in a second. But again, I do want to drill home. If you do not have the financial means for that, that's why I do this podcast. That's why I do a TikTok live once a week as a Q&A. That's why I have the free Letting Go workbook. It's not just about a money thing, but I'm also extremely good at what I do and my time is important and it's a fair exchange of energy. And I would never apologize for that, nor should you. So it's very important. So that's the wrap on real money. Budget for growth like you budget for bills. So let's say maybe you're not there yet, but you do have a little bit of extra. So budget for it. Maybe you don't do it for 10 months. Maybe you don't do it for 2 years. Just budget for it. Just put a little aside. Don't let it break Good God, break the bank. Don't let it do that. Excuse me. Don't let it do that. Build emotional tolerance. So you got to let it be uncomfortable to outgrow your survival mode. And until you do that, none of it matters. It doesn't matter who you hire. Doesn't matter the money or the energy. You got to literally say, I am willing to build tolerance, but I got to let it feel uncomfortable and sit in that so I can outgrow that survival mode. Because listen, none of us wanted to be in survival mode, but we had to do what we had to do. Doesn't mean we have to stay there because that piece will become very close to going into a victim mentality. Like, well, I didn't have a choice. I understand that. Are you willing to invest your time, energy, and possible money into changing that? That's only a question in which you can ask. Because you're not lazy, you're just afraid. But here's the thing, the life that you want is not going to wait around forever. It's just not. It's not just sitting there going, okay, so it's just not going to. Time goes by, things go by. You know, there's this weird sand clock that we have in a timer, and we don't necessarily get to see that. So you don't want to wait. You want to start investing because you are the asset. You're an asset. So now let's talk about what I was going to talk to you about when it comes to the virtual money. This is for anybody. This does not mean that you have real money, but this is for everybody listening. We're going to talk about energetic currency, and we are going to start with $100. So in your mind, and you know what? If you happen to have $100, go to the bank, get all singles. Actually, I'm lying to you. Go to the bank, get all $5 bills. All $5 bills. Now, if you do not have $100, that's perfectly fine. Take some paper, cut it up, five going into, $5 times, up to 100. Just do that. Now, you're going to carry this with you throughout the day. Every excuse you make, every time you scroll social media, every time you're in avoidance, I want you to take $5 and I want you to put it aside. Like you're not really putting it aside, you're getting rid of it, but especially if you have the real money, don't like throw it out the window. But just put that aside. Every time you're triggered by something that you can't let go of, put that money aside. Everything's $5. Now, you can also gain money. So let's say you got $10 away, right? Because you were triggered on the way to work and you made an excuse why you couldn't go for a walk this morning. Boom, that's $10. But let's say now it's lunchtime and you're like, you know what? I could do nothing and just sit here and eat and scroll. Or I could read a book, not self-help. I could read a book because your mind needs reading too. Or I can go for a walk and listen to a podcast, preferably this one. But I could listen to a podcast. Great, you're doing something. So now you gain $5. At the end of the day, I can promise you, a lot of you are going to be negative. Like, so when, let's say you run through that $100, keep a mental check of $5, $5. You might be $400 negative. And this is where you have to say, if you look at energy, this is something I do for myself. I do it with my clients. If you see where you're putting your money, energetic money, then it's up to you to decide what you want to do. So if you see that every day you're getting rid of $400 worth of energy, you want to minimize that. Well, guess what that means? You got to invest in yourself. Got to invest in yourself. Maybe you don't scroll tonight. Maybe you say, you know what? You give yourself a time. I'm going to scroll for 15 minutes this morning, not immediately upon awakening. This morning, like a midday break. Don't touch the damn thing until evening after dinner. You say, you know what? I'm going to give myself another 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And let's say you follow that. Well, you get your $5 back. But let's say you go past the 20 minutes or whatever. Got to get rid of the $5. And when you, because sometimes we can't see things until we see them. That's why when you go into a casino, you're not betting with real money. I mean, you're betting with real money, but that's why you change in money. Let's say you're sitting at a table, you change in money. You come in with, say, $500. They're going to give you some green chips, some red chips. You can easily play with chips. Hell, that's easy. Put $10. Here you go. 2 chips. But if I gave you, if you had all cash and I said to you, this 3-card poker hand is $30, and you had to physically see a 20 and a 10 or 3 10s there, you're going to be a lot more apprehensive. You're going to be like, whoa, oh God, do I need to do this? Because you see it. There's a reason. There's psychology behind why people don't want you to see. That's why your algorithms are giving your For You pages on every platform is giving you what's going to feed you, because you're not paying attention to the time. You're not doing that. But here's the thing. Let's say you do grab your phone tomorrow morning in bed because it's a habit. Yep, $5. Make that go away. $5. So you can keep doing what you're doing, but you got to take inventory of how much after a while you're going to run out of money. And you're going to be like, no wonder I'm energetically bankrupt. No wonder why I'm emotionally bankrupt. So you need to have it, right? Because when we see things, when it's trackable, we're able to make the change and shift from that. But you got to be willing to do it. So that right there. So let's say you say, I'm going to do that tomorrow. You go to the bank, you get the $5, or you cut up the paper and you do that. You do it today. Great. Tomorrow you didn't feel like doing it. Okay. Well, guess what? That's going to be the result you get. God, I don't know if I want to do that every day. All right, stay the same. Then you're not important to you. So you can do that without a dime. You can observe and look at where you're putting your money without ever spending $1. Are you taking calls that you don't want to take, not work? Are saying yes to things that you don't want to say yes to? Are you oversharing? Are you over-explaining? Are you being manipulative, even if unintentional, because you're avoiding a conversation? Bye. All that money's got to go. Always start with 100. It's giving you basically 20 times to earn more money or to lose it all and go into a deficit. And it's a good action because it challenges a few things. A, you got to do it. B, You got to push through it when you're like, oh, God, I don't know. This is so dumb. Okay, well, be dumb then. Then let it be dumb. But until you decide that you want to make the change and you want to invest in it, and you are a long-term investment, you're not a day stock. You're a long-term CD. And that means that you get to decide. And remember, let's say you have a CD. Let's say you're investing in, let's say it's a 20-year CD. You can't take the money out before, but you stop doing the work. So now you got to take the money out. Well, there comes with a cost. That comes with a cost. If you take, say, $10,000 out of a CD before it's over, you're going to pay a penalty, a pretty hefty one. It's the same thing with your energy bank account. I mean, it's a really good action for you and an activity. And it's supposed to be hard. Please stop saying it's hard. My God, that is the most annoying thing you can say to yourself. It's hard. Yeah. Is it harder to stay stuck? Is it harder to stay miserable? Is it harder to stay here? Well, you got to decide that. You got to decide that. Until you're willing to do the boring, do the hard, and do it in succession over and over again until you get consistency before you can go to the next step, it's going to be very difficult on this journey. And that's okay. But are you willing to start? Are you willing to start? Are you willing to show up when it's not fun? Are you willing to show up when you're talking about the same thing 3 months later? Are you willing to do that? I can't answer that for you. But it is something that you can get very clear now on what investing in yourself means. Because now you have a little bit more of an understanding. And yes, it does have to do with financial as well, but you don't always have to have the finances to do it. So I'm going to leave you with that. We're going to pop over to Patreon. We're going to go through the worksheet. But the biggest thing to ask yourself right now is, am I important enough to myself? Am I important enough for me to invest in myself to live the life I want unapologetically? And am I willing to do it when it's boring, when it's hard, and when I don't feel like it? If the answer to that question is yes, it's a great starting point.